They have. Woo! We are live. I've got a Cardinals jacket on. They make another trade today. Sad to see Brendan Donovan go, but I'm really happy that the Cardinals are choosing a direction. You guys know the drill. I'm gonna make sure my audio's good. Camera, well, I'm ugly as hell, but you guys know the drill. I'm gonna make sure my audio's good. Camera, well, I'm ugly as hell, but you guys know the drill. To make sure. That was funny. Anyway, I was kind of waiting for that. So we are here. I don't know why I'm doing the old man clapping. For Missouri Tigers Live. This is episode 60 as we hit the off season. Portal is closed unless some crazy weird things happen in the portal and they bring in a bunch of guys that I don't really expect them to. Cat going to town on her little scratching post. That's cool. And you're just going to sleep. We are going to go ahead and go through the outlook. We did offense last week. We're going to do defense this week, kind of what we're looking for. And then, of course, as we go, into the further offseason, we'll dive a little bit deeper into each of these position groups. And then into next week, we're going to go over the coaching staff and kind of what coaching staff outlook as we have post-portal, everything kind of figuring itself out as we head into the 2026 season that starts in about 7 months. So, first game is Saturday, September 5th. So 7 months, Missouri's first game. We're post-portal. Coaching stuff's all wired down. So today we're going to look at defense. Next week, we'll do the coaching staff and kind of where we're at with that coaching staff. And then we'll really move on to, we already have moved on to 2026. So it is what it is. Anyway. So it's last week we talked about the offense for, getting recruiting and stuff. But last week we talked about the offense for Missouri. This week we are going to talk the defense. Now, last week I was really positive, and I think Mizzou and Eli have earned the right for me to be positive about their team. I see the vision of what they're trying to do offensively. I see what they're trying to do. I think they have the pieces to do it. It's ultimately going to come down to their development, how they develop these kids moving forward. It's going to come down to internally what Mizzou does offensively, if they're going to be good or not. And I think they'll be pretty good. I have some faith there. On the flip side, we have defense. And defensively, look, you lose a lot. You lose Zion Young, who apparently is lighting it up at the Senior Bowl. I don't really care about the Senior Bowl. Lit it up, maybe playing his way into the first round. He had 16 and a half tackles for a loss last year. Josiah Trotter had 13 tackles for a loss. Damon Wilson, 9.5 tackles for a loss. Chris McClellan, 8 tackles for a loss. Dalen Carnell, 6.5 tackles for a loss. Khalil Jacobs, 5 tackles for a loss. Sterling Webb, 3.5 tackles for a loss. Tristan Newsom, 2.5 tackles for a loss. Even Marvin Burks, a tackle and a half. Doriana Pride, a tackle. Drayden Norwood, a tackle. You're losing all these guys, and you're going with a youth movement. It's going to be a younger defense. It's going to be, I asked a lot. I want to see what they look like defensively using recruiting. You need to play your recruits. It's just unfortunate that, the highly touted guys you were kind of hoping would be here, like a Jaylen Brown, like a Williams Nuinari. But unfortunately that didn't happen. So we are going to move on. But the defensive outlook, look, it's not incredible. So we're going to go here. We're going to look at D-line. So, leaving is Chris McClellan, Sterling Webb, Braylon Henderson, and Justin Bodford. Not a great, and this is from Power Mizzou. McClellan played 550 snaps. Webb played 407 snaps. Henderson, 83 snaps. and Bodford 5 snaps. Returning guys that you expect to play a major part, not from the portal. You got Marquise Gracial, who played 257 snaps. Jalen Marshall played 193 snaps. Elias Williams, 44, Jason Dowell, 31, and Sam Williams, 17. So 542 snaps of returning production, 1,045 out the door, 909, most of them belonging to Chris McClellan and Sterling Webb. If you look at those guys last year and what they did when they played, Marquise Gracial, you know what? I'm actually pretty confident he's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty confident that he will step in and play well. I think Marquise showed enough. I think from that Auburn game on, I think he played some really good football. That was the best game I'd seen him play. He saved the game basically on the goal line. He was a 4-star recruit in that 2022 class, one of the last holdovers from that class. I think he'll prove it. I'm pretty confident in him. Jalen Marshall, he was a 3-star kid. Marquise last year from his spot. 2 tackles for a loss, 16 combined tackles, no sacks. Jalen Marshall, 1 tackle for a loss, half a sack, 17 tackles, but only 4 solo. Those guys are probably going to be your starters. That makes me a little nervous. Marquise last year was really his first year on. He did not play much in 24. This is his 5th year on campus. I'm pretty trustworthy that he's going to be good, and the reason he didn't play is because he's behind Chris McClellan, who's going to get drafted, and Chris McClellan was a good player. Jalen Marshall, again, this is his 5th year on campus. He was also in the 22 class. No real production. They're going to be older guys. Older guys are good in college football right now. That's kind of the meta. But I'm not confident in that. Behind him, you're going to have Elias Williams, Sam Williams had 1 tackle in 2 games. And Javion Hilson's another guy I kind of really wish they had. Jason Dowell, he'll be back there. He played 3 games, 3 assists to tackles. Braylon Henderson had 5 tackles in 12 games. He did make a lot of appearances. That's it. It's scary hours out here. Elias didn't really play unless I'm missing something. Yeah, no. It's scary hours in that D-line room. Now, we talked about Donta Thompson. He is someone I think that this staff is really high on. They were high on him at Miami, and it's nice that they didn't trash him on the way out the door, I guess is cool. Donta Simpson, holy cow. Where did I get Thompson? Oh, that's the Texas Tech kid. Simpson, 3-star recruit out of college. I know Miami was really hoping he'd make a step forward. You lose some, you gain some from the portal. Obviously, I think Miami fans will take the Damon Wilson for the Donta Simpson trade. He will figure to play a big part in that D line. You probably need to be able to go 3-4 deep. And I guess you're going to rely on Marshall. You're going to rely on Marquise. You're going to rely on one of the Williams and Simpson. I keep saying Thompson. I mean, he had 8 games, 4 tackles, tackled a half loss at Miami this year. I'm also going to include Dodge Overton. They brought in. He was a signee. I think they like him a lot. I would be really shocked if he played. Look, this is a guy. This is the spot Mizzou whiffed on the hardest. They whiffed. They tried to bring in the couple guys from Alabama. They tried a bunch of different things, and they whiffed badly. If you're a Mizzou basketball fan, it's like Dennis Gates in center. They just whiffed horribly. Maybe sunk your 2026 type of whiff because you look at the schedule. Kansas, I don't think will be very good, but they're going to be able to run the football. I trust that and I think Kotelnicki went back. Mississippi State can run. Florida with Jaden Ball is going to run. Texas A&M has punked you for 2 years. Kawan Lacey still at Ole Miss. Arkansas is bringing a new coach. Texas has 2 great running backs now. Georgia is going to have a good run game. Kentucky, whatever. And Oklahoma, we'll see what Kentucky is. Like, it's hard with a new coach. Same with Arkansas. And then you have Oklahoma, who's going to have a good run game potential. You would think. Like, you can't be worse than it has been. Sunk your season bad is kind of maybe how this deep tackle and interior defensive line room is played out. It's just not good, and we'll need to see what they do. They just whiff. Maybe it does go swimmingly, but they took some big swings and they missed badly. I'm going to include here is their edge position. So at D end, a lot of times their edge guys do not play with a hand in the dirt. But look, their depth chart isn't great here either. It's Langdon Kitchen, who I'm not particularly high on. He played in 12 games, had 14 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, half a sack. He's nothing great. I would hope. And then behind him, you'll have Jaden Jones and DeMarcus Johnson. Look, this defensive line, it's not good. Maybe young guys step up. There's guys in the edge in the D end room that I like. Like Bobby Washington Jr. and Malik Bryant, but I just don't know where on this D line this D line room makes me nervous. I'm actually pretty confident in the jack position. I think their jack position is going to be pretty good. I think it's really talented. But did they put all of their chips into the jack position, which is where I'm going to get to next, which is I put edge, but jack. They're going to start with Darius Smith. Darius Smith really came on last year. He was 6th in the team with 5.5 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks. His pass rush win rate was in the top 10 in the SEC. He's the prototypical edge rusher that, and much like a Damon Wilson, much like Zion. Well, no, Zion Young was a run guy. We didn't know if Zion could rush the passer. Yes, he can. I think Darius can rush. I don't know if Darius can rush the pass and be an every down defensive end type of player. Behind him, you're gonna have Malik Bryant, who's really talented. He's now at Missouri. He was also a 3-star recruit. Miami liked him as well. I mean, Miami's not gonna just be mad at guys as they leave. They also brought in Bobby Washington, but he's a linebacker from Miami. They really went hunting in Miami. At that edge group too, they're going to play CJ. Whoa, cats, relax. Like Bryant at Miami in 24 had 5 tackles for a loss, a sack and a half. There's a lot of ability there. We'll just have to see. He's going to probably belong behind Darius Smith. And we'll go from there. We talked about Jaden Jones will play there. CJ May is going to get some look probably at that edge position. They're going to need to find a pass rush. I'm not entirely sure. They went young. This is where Nwaneri could have really come to play. This is when because I mean, one website has Malik Bryant playing DN behind Kitchen, but Jaden Jones playing behind Darius Smith, which I don't think is going to happen. It's scary hours at the D line. I don't like saying that. I don't like being that negative. That's not who I want to be as a person. And you have Dayton Hopkins, who this stat I look over because I've just been talking about the portal, but Dayton Hopkins is someone that I know for a fact this staff loves. They outwardly will just rave and riot about how good they think that kid can be. He better be. And he better take a big jump this year because it can't just be Darius. There has to be other guys that can rush the passer. For this Missouri Tigers team, this D line just isn't. I just don't think they did a great job in the portal with D line. Because you keep doing D line stuff, and you also brought in Caven Tully. He's a special teams guy. Because you keep bringing in transfers, you don't let your young guys play, and then your young guys transfer. And then if you whiff that's the dangers of trying to be a portal team at Missouri. If you whiff on your portal, or if you keep doing this and your guys leave and then you whiff on the portal, you're going to be in deep trouble, and they're going to be in deep trouble. I don't really like this D-end room at all. I like Darius. I think there's a lot of talent, at least at the jack edge position, but it's got to be proven. So we'll go from there. You are listening to Missouri Tigers Live. I'm Zach Armilius. I'm here every week as per usual. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. I was messing with my girlfriend. Like, I'll be here all off season, and there's going to be plenty to talk about. And this is a fun year where we have the Olympics. I like the Winter Olympics. I love hockey. So the Olympic hockey having the NHL players is going to be fun. And then you go from that into March Madness, and then you go from March Madness into the NCAA and NBA playoffs, and you go from NCAA and NBA playoffs. And it's like, oh, okay, now it's only baseball. It's like, well, no, we got the World Cup, and I like, obviously I'm not following soccer on a day-to-day basis, but the World Cup is awesome. And then football will be around. So like the sports calendar this year is kind of jam-packed with everything, even post Super Bowl. But yeah, you can follow me here every Monday night. I will be here. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Please subscribe to Mark Rogers, the voice of college football. Mark does an unbelievable job, and he lets me do this. And like and subscribe here. And you can check out our new website, thevoiceofcollegefootball.com, if you want to see what shows we have, what shows we and when they're scheduled, and when you can go on live and listen about your favorite team if it's not the Missouri Tigers. So moving on, we are going to go to linebacker. And at linebacker, I think this team could potentially be okay. They brought in Robert Woodyard. Obviously, he's kind of been their big defensive pickup this offseason. Robert Woodyard is, he was a productive player at Auburn. He was a 3-star transfer, 4-star prospect, which is a little confusing. I think Tom Fornelli at CBS Sports wrote that they think he's one of the best underrated defensive pickups, just because he's a good player. Mizzou needs good players to fill out this defense that's going to be basically brand new. And Woodyard last year, 7 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, 67 tackles, 47 solos, 20 assists. He's a good player. He's going to slot in really well next to Nick Rodriguez, who in 13 games last year, 62 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and a sack and a half. I'd like to see Nick be able to gun and get downhill a little bit faster. I'd like to see him match Trotter's tackles for a loss ability, because Josiah just did an unbelievable job there. And they're going to need the linebacker, or the D line's going to need help from these backers. But I like I like that pairing at linebacker. Behind him, you're going to have probably Jeremiah Beasley, who I was shocked they were able to keep. Beasley last year did not play a ton, only appeared in 13 games, but 19 tackles. He's a player that I think has a lot of potential. He came over from Michigan when Harbaugh left, so this is his third year in the program. It's time to take a step. And if you're Jeremiah Beasley, you know that. They also have Bobby Washington, transfer from Miami, back there, ready to play if need be. So the linebacking room, we've talked about it a lot. I'm pretty confident it's going to at least be okay. You can never bet on it being better than last year. But at the same time, like, I don't think people walked into last year thinking that that Trotter was as good as he was. I don't think that happened. J.J. Bush, Dante McClellan is going to be hard to keep off the field. Brian Huff, Keenan Harris is a freshman. So I think you're looking at a linebacking rotation core of Woodyard, Rodriguez, McClellan, Beasley, and Washington. I think it's solid. I think it looks pretty good on paper. Nick is gotten better every year he's been on campus at Mizzou. I think he's a good player. It's just going to come down to he's now the guy. Woodyard's a nice piece, but this kid's now the guy. And how will he react to that? I don't have much more to say at linebacker. Honestly, the outlook at linebacker out of all the spots I think is the best. I think they'll be solid there. So I think we're going to move on pretty quick. I know I spent a lot of time on D-line, but I think they addressed their biggest need, a linebacker. They needed an impact guy in the portal. They got one. They bring back Rodriguez, who's an impact player. Beasley in year 3 should be ready to take a step, and they brought in Washington and guys like Dante McClellan, J.J. Bush. Some of these younger guys could be ready to play. I think they're deep, and I think the linebacker room is talented and ready to go. Not a lot to say there. Now we'll get to the secondary where we have some thoughts. I think the one thought I have, Chris Graves, your corner one, done, cool. Good pickup by Eli late in the portal. Kind of saved your portal season on defensively because like corner and D tackle. If you whiffed on both of them, this defense would be scary. I think Corey Batoon is good at his job. I would be a little shocked if the defense didn't look a little bit more like the 24 defense, where against good teams, it's just going to get torched. But against, teams that aren't that, like you'll do a decent job keeping plays in front of you. But Chris Graves was definitely a big pickup. They desperately needed that kid to come aboard. Chris Graves last year, 33 tackles, half a tackle for a loss, no interceptions. That needs to be better. Mizzou needs to do a better job of forcing turnovers. He'll get one starting corner spot. I think your other starting corner spot is going to come down to a few guys. Jaleel Florence from Oregon, I think is a good player that kind of got buried in Oregon's NFL factory. He is a former 4-star recruit. He's just been injured a lot. I don't know if he'll start. I truthfully do not know who's going to get that other corner spot. He only played in 2 games last year. A year before, he played in 11 games, made 27 tackles, or 23. He missed all of 24 with injury. I think the hope is if you're Mizzou, last year he spent recovering, and this year he's reared back ready to go. I can't promise anything, obviously. But he will be definitely compete for a corner spot. Elijah Dotson. He'll rotate between safety and corner. Apparently, I will see how that goes. Again, I don't know if he'll be a starting corner. I truthfully could Deloach get the nod back there? Nick Deloach last year did play for Missouri. Let me pull up his numbers. Excuse me. Played quite a bit. Got into 13 games, made 8 tackles. Nothing crazy. Like missing on Tion Gray. If they had been able to grab Tion Gray, I think you would have felt really good about their chances. Elsewhere in that corner room, you do have Sion Leah from Oregon as well. I think pretty clearly you have five guys: Dotson, Florence, Leah Deloach, and Chris Graves Jr., who are going to make up kind of what you are as a cornerback room. I think the talent is, you have five guys and you need three of them to hit. Graves, I think, will be fine. So you need one to be as good as Graves and another one to be pretty solid to be a corner three. I think you need three of them to hit. I think corner is probably where I'm okay with what they did at corner. They have a lot of experience, a lot of length. Deloach is 6 foot, Florence is 6'1", Graves is 6 foot, Dotson 6'1", and Lee is 6'4", which is crazy. I think they'll be okay at corner. We'll have to, of course, wait for the games to come, but I think at corner we're going to be okay. I'm actually feeling pretty. I'm pretty confident in the linebackers. I'm feeling okay at corner, and I'm terrified of the D line, which unfortunately you're in college. It's football, so your D line has to be good. At star, I think you're going to see Santana Banner. I think you'll see CJ Bass, and I think you'll see Jadon Blair. I think you'll see Banner start, and you'll see Blair and Bass compete for minutes. I think those are both very good players. I think at free safety, Trajan Greco, who they picked over Marvin Burks. Greco did not really play last year. He played in 13 games. He had seven tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Blair and the other guys, no real, CJ Bass and Trajan Greco, no real impact. But Santana Banner did play quite a bit. Where are you, Mr. Banner? You played a lot this year, so you got to be somewhere around here, right? Oh, wait, am I just missing you? I did. He was third on the team in tackles last year with 59. Wow, I was not expecting him to be that high off the top of my head. So I think the back seven, you're going to be fine. Kenzie Luder-Faustin from Auburn is going to probably be like your rover. You might see Dotson get some minutes in there. He did play 20 tackles last year in 11 games, 3 tackles for a loss and a sack. He kind of replaces Dalen Carnell's role. Jaden McGregory will also get some moments back there. Maybe Jackson Hancock, maybe Elijah Dotson gets out there to steal some reps. But I'm not going to lie to you people and say I think the secondary is going to be awesome. I am pretty confident that the secondary will be decent, and I think Corey Batoon usually does a pretty good job with his secondary as far as safeties, as far as his corners. I think he does usually a pretty good job. The safeties sometimes little. Was that Marvin Burks or was it Corey Batoon? We'll find out this year. So overall, I think the defensive outlook. Look, you're only as good as your weak link on defense. Like on offense, you can hide things. You don't have a great right guard, you can hide it. We saw that last year with Mizzou. You don't have a great slot receiver. Okay, you can do certain things. Defensively, you can't hide your defensive line. So that if to be honest, I'm nervous about this D line. I'm nervous about how this defensive line is going to look and how it could impact the season. They're relying on guys stepping up. They're relying on Darius Smith taking a Damon Wilson level jump. And you know what? At the end of the year last year, Darius was really good. And his pass rush win rate was solid. Was in the top 10 in the SEC. But now he needs to be an every down defensive end. He needs to replace Damon Wilson. And then on the other side, you have to find a way in the aggregate to replace Zion Young and Chris McClellan and Sterling Webb. And I just don't think they did enough in the portal to do that. Now, the D tackles they have are older. They have a lot of experience. They've been through a lot of camps, but just not a lot of in-game. We haven't seen a lot of in-game impacts. So that'll be interesting to see, as it always is when we get to this time of year. And we prep for the 26th season. So I think for right now, that's all for me tonight. We did about 30 minutes on kind of the post-portal defensive outlook. We'll go into deeper breakdowns, of course, as the offseason goes along. We have 7 months so we have 49 ish. No, that's a lie. We have like 49 shows. Good Lord. We have like 28 shows to break down. Like we have 2 months before we even get into previews. So thank you all for being here. I will be back next Monday to talk more about Mizzou and Missouri Tigers Live. Next week, we'll go over the coaching staff, previous stops, kind of what the outlook is there. And then when we get to the following week, we'll kind of start to, we'll start really getting into some deeper dives and talking about the 2026 season. Recruiting, as always, junior days will be over and whatnot. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back next Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the NBA and NHL trade deadlines. Are always kind of fun. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you enjoy the warmer weather too. It's brutal here.